What are you guys doing here? It's a bye week. Yeah, what are you guys going to talk about? Well, so you've seen me and I can leave now?
What was practice like today, intensity-wise? And do you sort of remember what, the 2019 bye-week practice was like? And
Yes, I do. Just because we've talked about it like 5 times. Let's see. I mean, 2019, we were coming off. We had a must-win game in Seattle. And so we got that win. Everybody played, high intensity, everyone was dialed in. So the following week was more like jog through stuff. Today was definitely a full speed day. Guys flying around, guys competing. Offense definitely competed better today than the defense. Yeah, suck it, Fred. Besides that, no, it's great. Like, you just want to, I don't know, Kyle said something like just continue to sharpen the sword. Like, I don't know, you just want to try to, take every advantage when you're on a football field, to get a skill a little bit better, to refine your skills a little bit, to focus on one thing. Your first step, your release, your get off, your focus on ADO if you're a D lineman, your pack pedal, like just something like you just don't want to like lose a step anywhere. And so it was a good day today, and looking forward to tomorrow.
George, you've experienced postseason heartbreak here, but did the way?
Ooh,
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Very dramatic.
That was dramatic.
But the way you guys lost last season, kind of some circumstances that were out of your control, did that provide any sort of different off-season feeling, off-season motivation or juice, or is it all the same? You lose and deep in the playoffs and it just sucks.
That's a good question. I would say it didn't really add more motivation for me. I'm pretty motivated to win because it's really fun, and losing is not fun. And it's not like I felt like our team was playing at such a high level last year. 12 straight, going to the playoffs. Lose your quarterback, lose your second quarterback, bring your other quarterback back in. There's not much more we could have done differently as a team once that injury occurred. So it's like, we were playing at a super high level. We were playing well. That happens. We lose. So it's not like, hey, we have to go train harder. We need to do this better. It's just like, hey, we just need to get better, continue to keep on the streak that we're going on, continue to play at a high level. We've got the players for it. We've got the scheme for it. We've got the confidence. Hey, let's just stay healthy, and just go play football, which is kind of what we've done this year. And so I wouldn't say it was like a different mindset like that. It was more of a, hey, we keep getting really, really close and it's not happening. I'm not sure if there's something I'm going to change in the offseason. Just how healthy can I be and how good can I get at football, and then I think the rest will take care of itself.
George, I know you guys have.
Holy cow.
I know. It always
bright lights. I can't see you guys up there.
We're here. Wondering, how different it is going into the postseason this year, knowing that Brock has playoff experience under his belt, that he's playoff tested. Is there something different to that?
Yes and no. I mean, I think anytime you can have playoff experience, it's definitely helpful. I remember Joe Staley, Richard Sherman told me, the first time I had my experience in 2019 was, it is, you're playing football, but the intensity is different. The vibe is different. The energy is different. There's not really a lot of playful communication. Sometimes you're chirping with guys, throughout a game. It's a lot more intensity. There's a lot more anger. There's a lot more, do or die on every single play. You can look at a scouting report, you can look at a team hey, well, sometimes this guy doesn't really try on the backside. This defensive end only rushes on third down, and if he's front side, he might try backside. He takes a lot of plays off. Not very many people do that in the playoffs. Everyone is looks like Max Crosby. When you get to the playoffs, there's 100% effort on every single play. We know which is what expected, but not everybody does it. So it is you're still playing football, and I don't need you to go do crazy things and try to make something up on a football field. Just continue to play at your level, but just keep in mind that it's going to be incredibly, incredibly intense, and a lot is going to be asked of you. But yeah, sorry, with Purdy, there's a little just rolling right now. With Purdy, I just expect him to be the same person, incredibly consistent, dialed in. He looked great today, made a lot of great throws, scored a lot of touchdowns. So I'm never really worried about Purdy. Even he threw multiple interceptions a game, not really worried. He's going to bounce back, and he's going to play at a super high level like he always does.
With Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick leaving their teams after long
crazy.
Did you have any interaction with those guys personally, either before games or off season? And then do you do that with coaches in general ever?
Occasionally, I like to communicate with coaches. It's easier now at this point in my career because most head coaches know who I am. My first couple years, I don't know if they really know who I was at all. But No, I've never had an experience with Bill Belichick, which is unfortunate. So, maybe I'll invite him to tight end you. He'll, coach, because he can actually coach now if he's not with another team. That'd be actually a great idea, Cam. It's awesome. Never had an experience with Nick Saban, but I've had experience. Yeah, I've talked to Pete a couple times. Everyone that I've known, like I trained with a couple of their tight ends in the offseason. They're all incredibly high on Pete and his culture that they build, the positivity that they build up there. It seems like a great place. I'd rather be here, but seems like a great place for the people that are there.
Kyle's been, I think he's the 4th longest tenured coach.
I saw that. 7 years? That's crazy. Like 7 years is the 4th most tenured coach now?
How helpful is that, just that continuity for establishing a franchise?
It's huge. Well, I've been very lucky. My college coach is going into year like 24. So I had that stability when I was in college, and I get it here in the first year of Kyle's and just kind of been a part of the foundation, see how it's grown. And when you have that stability and like each year gets a little bit more, I don't want to say comfortable, just like gets easier to be a part of the offense, gets easier to be a part of the system. Like you just get used to the ebb and flow of things, and it allows you to kind of like, what your routine is going into, whether it's OTAs, going into the offseason, going into training camp. Like how to get your body, the time that you need to spend Monday, Tuesday on your off days. How to spend the time, and so that's been incredibly helpful for me. And then like we know what Kyle's expectations are. So as captains, as leaders of the team, like we all come together and we try to reinforce the things that Kyle is talking to the team. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that.
Bill Walsh used to say that coaches would coach like 10 years in one spot, and for him, he thought that was the max. You should move aside because the message has been out. Everybody knows what it is. It gets a little tired. You've grown up with Kyle. I'm curious, how different is Kyle now, 7 years in, than when you started?
There's a lot of similarities. There are a lot of differences. Kyle has, I think Kyle's grown just as much as I have. Just thinking back, like his team meetings, his install, his offense, like everything, like the way he's adapted to changing times on offense, the way that he's changed his meetings. Like he used to let players talk the night before games. And like the last couple years, like I don't know, his team meetings are phenomenal. The way that he describes football, the way that he teaches football to offense, defense, and special teams guys, he's been such a great teacher. I would say like that's been like one of the coolest things. I remember like just talking to Hargrave. He's like, I've never sat in a team meeting where Kyle explains the purpose of this run game, this run style versus this run style, and why we're trying to get D linemen to do certain things. He goes, no one's ever talked to me about that before. Like I've learned 20 things in that 140-minute team meeting. So like something like that, it's really fun to be a part of something like that because. I've been playing football since I was 5 years old, however, but like I've learned more in this 7 years, specifically like this last 3 or 4 years, than I probably did in my first 26.
George, this team has had a lot of opportunities to win it all, and as you age in the game, you're 30 now. Do you have greater urgency, greater determination to get that ring this year because you got so close in the past, and this might be your best chance at one?
I feel great. So, I'm going to play as long as I possibly can. And, no, I don't think, like, my sense of urgency has been pretty urgent since 2019. I kind of figured that out. I think it takes, like, a year or two to get to be in the NFL to realize, like, the sense of urgency that you have to have when you're on a good football team. But, yeah, I feel like I've been pretty urgent since then. My first 2 years, I was just trying to survive the NFL, and then something clicked, figured it out, started playing at a high level, and then you realize, especially like you have guys like Joe Staley, Garrett Selleck, they're like two of my best friends are on a team. I've been in the league like without them longer than I was with them. I played with them for 3 years, and I've played with them without them for 4 years. So it's just like I understand the sense of urgency, and I think it takes young guys a little bit, but majority of this team fully understands that. And I don't windows closing, all that stuff. I don't know. I'm just going to keep playing football at a high level until they tell me I can't anymore. You asked one already. Thank you. Just throw something at him.
Looking at the potential of your offense with all of your players on it, do you feel like you are peaking at the right time?
Me or the offense? Yeah, I know it's coaches talk like Brian Fleury's like, you're going to be playing better football in October than you were in September. You're going to be better, November than October, December than November, January than December. So like, yes, I think we've continually gotten better. I think our offense has been incredibly efficient, throughout the season. Besides, like maybe 1 or 2 games we didn't play very well, but I think our offense is playing at a high level. Our best players are playing at a really high level. Ayuk's phenomenal. Brock's phenomenal. Christian McCaffrey. Like, we have great weapons. I think everyone's playing at a really high level, and like everyone is very dialed into the sense of urgency. Like, you feel that in the building. Like, everyone just has this unique focus. And I don't know, one thing like I respect about our team is I look around the league and like I see other locker rooms after games and people, a lot of music, cheering and all that stuff after games, which I totally respect and I love that energy. Ours just kind of feels like, hey, we won. What's the next week? What is the next job? What is the next mission? What is the next thing that we're going to attack? And I feel like that's just a sense of urgency. Like, you want to enjoy things in like that 24-hour rule, but at the same time, like, our guys are flushing it, moving on. We're going to the next one. I just really respect that about this team, and I don't know if it's on purpose, but it's just kind of the energy that you feel within the locker room.
George,
The
when
bits better
Brock-
be good, man.
I think you'll like it.
Okay.
When Brock has, the rare times he's had adversity,
Hmm.
the Ravens most recently, I mean, when he talks to us, he's not defensive at all, doesn't even subtly deflect, any sort of blame, and he very openly discusses his mistakes. I assume you kind of get a sense of those qualities in dealing with him. I guess, what does that say about him?
I mean, he's very mature for his age, and he's played the quarterback position. I've said about Brock 20 times. He had 48 starts in college. He's played at a high level. He's played poorly before. He's won games. He's lost games. Like, he understands what the quarterback is. Like, you're kind of the face of the franchise. You're kind of the reason that we're going to win or lose games. I think Kyle talks about all the time is that you do everything in the offseason. You do everything through training camp. You do practices every single week, and the only thing that people ever see is those 3.5 hours on every Sunday, and you're putting yourself out there, and you have to be okay with putting yourself out there. And sometimes you're going to prevail, sometimes you're going to fail, and you got to be okay, like not okay with it, but you have to be willing to put yourself out there, and then willing to look yourself in the mirror and face if you're doing well or not. And I think Brock just does a really good job of that, and he's, like I said, he's mature enough to handle that pressure of being the 49ers starting quarterback, breaking a record in your first career season as a starter. Like, there's a lot that people expect of Brock, but I think he just does such a good job of being himself and just being an overall good human being, and I think that's why you guys like talking to him so much.
All right, thanks, George.
Thanks, guys. He said that was only be 5 minutes, so you lied to me, Eric.
I didn't.
Zach, sorry. Eric's the other guy.